Hello and welcome to Donington Park and the NetRacingEurope.com GT3 Masters 2013 Championship. I'm Ryan Cullen and I'm going to be your host today as we go to the fourth round and the fifth race of the 2013 season. In fact, the sixth race, should I say, of the 2013 GT3 Masters from NetRacingEurope.com. Live on Sim Race TV today, we're going to have an endurance race for you guys, which means just one race, 60 minutes long, 41 laps for the drivers, and it's an intriguing championship battle at the moment so far this season as well. So as I was speaking about, there is just one race today, and we're in Britain for this race, having visited New Zealand, Germany and Brazil so far this season. So we've been to far-flung places. We're back in Europe now, back in Leicestershire at Donington Park. And as you can see here, here are the locations we'll be visiting this season. And those red dots are the ones where we've already been, and that big red dot is where we're going to be today. Round 4, as I'm saying, race 6 of this 10-round season, and this 4-kilometre track. Top speed is 250 kilometres an hour. 3 passing spots there according to the graphics, but I'm pretty sure there's at least 5 in this track. Down at the first corner, Redgate, and also up at McLean's and Coppers also. But these are the championship standings. Look at the lead that Sebastian Hauer has already, but look at the kilos he has to carry as well. Fish and Osinski are battling out for second place, along with Aladish as well, with Sven Kovalik, after an unfortunate occurrences at the last round, is now out of the championship hunt, it seems so far. But plenty of time to go in the season, and we hope you enjoy the show today. We're about to go into qualifying, in fact, so let's take you now live to the track. And there we are, the timer is about to tick down to 0, and at the end of practice, about to go into qualifying here. Qualifying is one run. You get one run of an out lap, 2 hot laps and an in lap. You must complete at least 1 hot lap in this qualifying session. And it's Sven Kovalik, the administrator of the series, and also from Denmark, who was the fastest so far by a couple of tenths from Carsten Schumacher. Somewhat of a surprise front runner so far here. Not sure if that was a one-off amazing lap there from Carsten Schumacher, but he came back and improved from a 15th in race 1 at Ruapuna to finish 7th. So maybe this is part of his game plan to catch everyone napping and carry on in the season and improve all the way throughout. But he looks strong at the moment. Cars are now heading out on track. Look at one of the AA Motorsport drivers there, Abraham or Aladish. Let's try and find out exactly who that was. And also, look at Carsten Schumacher gone out of track also as well. We're just talking about him, of course. And there he is. In fact, it is going out on track. And ahead of him, it was, in fact, Aladish going out on track. So, oh, it was not Aladish going out on track. I'm not quite sure who it is going out on track there then. Matthias Fish? No, it's not Matthias Fish either. Maybe it's not Matthias Fish at all. So, I'm not quite sure exactly who went on track. But there he is, going past Carsten Schumacher at the moment. I do apologise for not identifying that car. Oh, of course, it's Behrens. My apologies. There we go. There is Behrens coming around the track. They've got very similar liveries, I think, to Abraham and Aladish. Let's just confirm I'm not completely insane. Yes, it is a black Audi. There you go. So that's the reason for that. Sebastian Hauer, here he is. He's going out of the pit lane also. So everyone seems to be heading out early here. Of course, it's only a 10-minute session on a track which takes almost 1.5 minutes. So, of course, you do need to get that running pretty early, considering you've got to do 4 laps around here. So that's 6 minutes. So really, we'll see everyone go out in the first 5 minutes of this session, without a doubt. And Sebastian Hauer is struggling with the pace at the moment, at 6th place. In the standings in pre-practice, but he does have 86 kilos on board, as opposed to Darek Osinski, who's got 65 kilos on board. Is actually even further down the grid, should I say, in 3rd place. So Osinski, after his excellent run at Ruapuna, with a second place in the first race to Sebastian Hauer and a first place over Sebastian Hauer in the second race, looks like he may be struggling a little bit with the weight here, because of course Hauer was running much more weight than Osinski was at the last race as well. So Hauer looks like he's got the pace on the rest of the field. To be 6th place with 86 kilos on board is still an excellent achievement. Let's jump and look at Carsten Schumacher starting his hot lap now, his first hot lap in that BMW M3. But it's not BMW M3, it's an Alpina B6, my apologies. And it's just shot now by all the German viewers, I apologise for that. But Schumacher, despite the name, is not a German, he is from Austria, first name Carsten. So he heads now around Old Ahead. Let's go on board with him actually, as he now heads up the hill towards McLean's. Anyone who watches BTCC will know this is the favourite overtaking place of Matt Neal, and he loves doing that, throw it down the inside where people miss the apex, just like Carson Schumacher did. So now up to Coppice, blind apex, you can't see it at all, you know it's there, you just aim for it and hope it hasn't moved in the previous lap. Now down this long straight under the Dunlop Bridge and down towards the Fogarty S's. I'm not quite sure if they're called the Fogarty S's still, but I'm going to call them the Fogarty S's still anyway. Flick them left and then right. And now we try and get the power down as much as possible on the Grand Prix layout, of course, down towards Melbourne hairpin. Downhill braking zone here also, and a long radius corner. Very easy to outbrake yourself through here. And now get the power in as early as possible, because it's an uphill run, so the earlier you can get your power on, the better, of course, because you're going to be affected all the way now in the run into Goddard, which is the final corner. Another hairpin type corner, but slightly off camber on the approach and all the way throughout as well. And now heading down the main straight back towards Redgate once again. What is the time from Carson Schumacher? It's a 28.4. Remember, Kovacic did a 27.6 in pre-practice and Schumacher did 27.8. So that's not an improvement for Schumacher. Won't be very happy with that lap at the moment. Behrens goes second and Anderson third. Of course, they're the first to complete their laps. So Schumacher now heading down through the old hairpin once again. This time a little bit more aggressive, and he's cut on the inside and everyone wide on the outside, but he's quicker at the moment as he pushes now up the hill. Will he hit the apex this time around? Let's go on board with him. And it's a bit better than last time around, but not quite as good as it should be through McLean's. And now up towards Coppice. Let's really see the dips and rises in this Donington circuit. Schumacher now down the back straight, flying under the bridge. What's his split going to be? Fish goes 7th with a 29.8. Won't be happy with that at all, as Schumacher is a quarter of a second down. In fact, he's not improved at all. He's lost 3/10 in that middle sector, down towards the Melbourne hairpin, pushing very hard indeed. Hard on the brakes, you see the car dip, but then the brakes glow as he comes out of it, and again he gets out of shape coming up the hill. They're heading now into Goddard. Oh, and around it, he's completely missed the apex there also as well, so it's not going to be an improvement for Carson Schumacher, trying a little bit too hard, one would imagine here. And he crosses the line and does not improve. Hauer has gone second though with a decent time. And he's less than a 10th down on the fastest time, of course, of Carson Schumacher on this lap. Very neat and tidy through there, out of shape on the exit though, wow. Really out of shape there, Sebastian Hauer, as he comes now towards Goddard. He's about to complete his second hot lap. Ryback's gone 4th. What will Hauer pose? Can he sneak ahead of that time? He can! He has snuck ahead of that time. It's a 28.399. Aladish though goes first with a 28.341. So I think that was his second hot lap as well. So Aladish, or maybe Fish actually had already had a fast lap, but Aladish, either way, he's still carrying on a fast lap here. Let's see what his split time is. Let's see if he's actually going for another run here. He is going for another run, it seems, because he's quicker once again. So Aladish is the fastest at the moment by a 10th of a second from both Hauer and Schumacher. Aladish, of course, a big rival of Sebastian Hauer, gets out of his way. Good driving there from Hauer. Abraham goes 5th, so the two AA drivers, Aladish and Abraham, are in the top 5. And he's up once again, is Aladish, but of course that's a very difficult split there because it's right in the braking zone, so he may have braked too late or too early, of course, and then got a better exit or a worse exit, so it's not a very reliable measurement that, but Aladish goes very deep through Melbourne and goes for a very late apex, keeps it nice and straight on the exit, in fact losing all the track, the best driver I've seen around there so far, and Aladish is about to complete his lap. This looks like it might be an improvement to me, a 28.0 perhaps, as I got the feeling around that. Got an excellent apex also. Ishinsky goes 5th with a 28.781. Aladish 28.0. There we go. How good am I predicting lap times? Aladish goes to 28.0. Pole position so far for Aladish. Kovacic has not set a lap time yet, and he is out on track though. He is 0.079 down, as you can see on Aladish in the second sector. He's going to complete his first flying lap here. He will fancy his chances. He's got no weight on board. He's a race winner, of course, from Kuritova, and he'll fancy his chances of taking pole position here. Kovalik, not quite this time around. He's 0.031 away from Aladish, so just needs to improve maybe with one corner, and Kovalik should go to pole here. Hauer is third, Abraham's gone to fourth now, Schumacher's back to fifth, Fish is in sixth, Ozinski is in seventh, some way off how he was performing at Ruapuna Park. Nice and clean there from Kovalik. We're going to go on board with him, going to talk us around a lap in fact in warm-up, so looking forward to that. And he's looking forward to the end of the lap at the moment because he's 2/10 up already in that first sector, that short first sector, pushing very, very hard, maybe just a bit too hard, understeer a little bit in the middle of McLean's. Ran wide in the apex as a result. He always missed the curb there at Coppet. Not sure how much it's going to hurt him. Gets the car nice and straightened out with the throttle though as he comes out of Coppet and hits a nice narrow line over that big hump. Really does scare you when you go over it on board. And into Fogarty, yes, he is down, and he's cut the track an enormous amount there, in fact, actually, on the exit of the chicane. Might get his wrist slapped for that one, but he's going to continue with the lap nevertheless, and he's braking very, very hard indeed into Melbourne Heavy. Different technique, and a worse technique, it seems, in the end for Kovalik. So it looks like Aladish will take pole position. Looks like nobody else is going to go out on track and try to beat him. Sebastian Hauer is back into the pits. Abraham is actually still out on track. I think he may be coming into the pits though, not quite sure actually. I'm sure Abraham already set 2 flying laps, indeed he has. There he goes back into the pit lane. So Schumacher in 5th place still. 6th place is Matthias Fish. 7th place is Uzinski. 8th place Behrens. 9th at the moment is Carlson. He must be on a hot lap at the moment. No, he's not. Oh, he might be. Let's see if it ticks away. He's not. He's just coasting around to the pit. So he's 9th. At best for him. 10th place is Martin Rybak, as you can see there. 12th place is Hagman in fact has gone into 10th place, sorry, is Martin Rybak. 11th place is Hagman. While 12th was Schumacher. I think somebody just left the game actually there. But about to go into warm up here. So as we return to the action here, it was Aladish who set that pole position. So congratulations to Steb Aladish. Check out his livery if we can. There we are for AA Motorsport, as you can see. And now we've gone back into Ozinski's car. Ozinski, of course, was the race winner at the second race at Ruapuna Park, and not doing quite so well here, qualifying in 6th spot. We lost a driver, I'm sure we lost a driver from the server earlier, but now we're into the warm-up session. 5 minutes of warm-up, and then we'll be into the race. We've got a formation lap along with a standing start, so we will have a standing start and a formation lap, and looking forward to that. Rules for the endurance format. There are always rules involved. 60-minute race, which is 41 laps in this particular case, and drivers will have to make 1 pit stop at least, mandatory. They cannot go the whole race without making a pit stop. They can choose whatever fuel structure they want, but they must change tyres when they come into the pit lane. So those are the rules for today's event. Apart from that, everything is okay. Apart from, obviously, of course, knocking everybody off the track. Of course, we saw last time out at Ruapuna Park, teammates knocked each other off the track. So we'll hopefully look out for that this time around, and hopefully we don't see that. I think it was Rybak and Fish, in fact, actually, who got involved last time around. Indeed, it was. And as a result of that, neither of them have gotten any weight on board this time around. And I'm sure Rybak would have wanted to do a bit better than 9th place, actually, in fact, on the grid. As Carlson went 8th, actually, in the end, as you can see. So I'm sure we've lost a Kovalik's... Oh, that's right, because Kovalik has jumped back into the server now after leaving it. So Kovalik did qualify in 2nd spot, with Hauer 3rd and Abraham 4th. Schumacher, a decent 5th. In fact, we might be a little bit disappointed with that, considering he was 2nd fastest in practice. But of course, it is a big improvement on his performance from Ruapuna Park. Osinski in the championship really has been harmed by his 15th place in the second race at Curitiba. Without that, he'll be a lot closer. You know, if he got an extra 20 points or whatever, 15-20 points, you know, he'll be a lot closer in the championship. At the moment, he's got 28-point gap to Howard. So those 15 points, you know, would be 18 points would be invaluable. He'd be back to 10 points behind Sebastian Hauer. So already drivers letting Sebastian Hauer get away with the championship, but they need to pull their socks up and tighten their belts in these continuing races if they want to take that title. It's easier said than done, of course, as everybody will tell you. I think we're going to go and talk to Sven Kovalik now, actually, who's going to be on track for us and take us round a lap. Let's see if we can grab him in TeamSpeak. Give him a poke. That started hot lap at the moment, so we'll try and see if we can grab a word with him. Hello, Sven. Hello, Sven. Don't seem to be working with your mic there, sorry, Sven. I don't know if he's fixing it or he's going to go offline. Let's see what he does. Hello, Sven. Earth calling Kovalik. No, it doesn't seem like we're going to be able to get any word from Sven Kovalik, but never mind. Let's go on board with him and pretend that he's talking to us. I'm a better commentator anyway, honest. Now on board with the front left of Sven Kovalik's Ferrari 458. These are the Fokker TS's I was talking. Oh, hello! Somebody just give him a bit of a biff at the back, or he just got out of shape. One of the that was one of the AA Motorsports Audis, I think. It may have been Barron's, of course. It's easy to throw me off. And in these particular, obviously, if you knew what we work with as broadcasters, you would understand why we make mistakes sometimes, because the images are very pixelated for us. We don't see the crystal clear images that you see. We see pixelated images that can get fed to us instantly, rather than having a delay of 3 or 4 or 5 seconds that you get when you watch the broadcast itself. But Kovalik's gone back into the pit lane now. So we'll look out for the pit lane. Everyone will be making a pit stop. Of course, we'll look out for them around about. Well, I would say early pit stop will be around about lap 16. Late pit stop will be around about lap 25. So big window there, really. In fact, it's a 41 lap race. This is Barron's out on track, and it may have been Barron's who caught Mr. Kovalik. No, it's too far around the track actually now. In fact, for it to have been him, so it's probably one of the AA Motorsport cars. 49 seconds to go in warm-up. We're also hoping to get a lap with Sven Kovalik and talk us around it and what it's like. Everyone knows, of course, Donington Park. If you don't know Donington Park, then really, you're a bit of a baby in motorsport terms, of course. But this is a famous circuit. It would be nice to get a word with him about what it's like to drive in these cars, of course. That's the crux of the matter there. Looking back from Matthias Abraham, and going straight off the track as well. Not doing very well choosing cars to go on board with at the moment. Kovalik went into the pits, and here's Barron's now. You can tell Barron's different livery. He's got less design on the side of the car, so that's the trick for me and for you to try and figure out who he is. And of course Barron's as well. Of course, we're going to go into warm up now, so I'm sure everyone's just getting ready for that. So as we go into this race, it really is open to who will win this race. In fact, actually, Aladish looks quick, as does Kovalik. Hauer can never be counted out, of course, but he's going to have difficulty with that big weight. It's going to harm him more and more throughout the race. Not just one lap pace, of course. It's the wear and tear on the tyres. So really is open, fully open. Everyone's going to go out on to the grid now. Here are the qualifying times. You can see in Aladish just pipping Kovalik by 31 thousandths of a second. We see Becker bring up the rear there in 15th place. It's Owen Anderson ahead of him. Anderson brothers on track in very similarly liveried cars. So let's call them Anderson for the rest of the race. I won't call them by their first name. But away from the grid they go on their formation lap. Aladish leads the way. Prediction times. I'm going to go... Aladish is not running... Well, he's running 26 kilos, is Aladish. Whereas Kovalik is running 0. Hauer is running 86. So... I'm going to go with Aladish, I think. Aladish to win this race, and Hauer to place well, and Kovalik to place well also. So not sticking my neck out too much. They're the top 3 qualifiers of this race, but those are my predictions. Take them or leave them. This is a view back from the pole sitter. Always a lovely view, seeing everybody behind you. Never nice seeing people in front of you. Unless you're lapping them, of course. Which is even better than seeing people behind you. It has to be said. One of the drivers off the track there must have been, no, it was very yellow, so it must have been Ryback, in fact, who was off the track then. Badass Racing, he's even blazing on the back of his car. Badass, which is on the rear of his car, fittingly. Wouldn't work too well if it was on the rear. On the front, sorry, should I say. I will get my words out eventually. Back to the front of the field. There's Aladish just doing the last little start procedure here as he gets ready for the start of this race. And we get ready as well. Adrenaline rises for both the drivers and myself and the spectators. These are the moments you have to get absolutely right as a driver. These are the moments where racing can be won and lost. Usually lost is the has to be said. Looking for the lights there on the left hand side. There you can see them. There are 3 reds, 4 reds, and lights out, and away we go. It's a decent start of Aladish, but it just bogged down at the last second. Oh, there's a big crash in behind. A big crash in behind. Look at that, Hagman involved as well, and both the Anderson boys involved in that, but Kovalik's taken the lead of the race. Aladish got off to a tardy start, and Abraham has come to 3rd also as well, with 4th Sebastian Hauer, and 5th is Carsten Schumacher. So no surprises that Hauer lost ground at the start with those 86 kilos making acceleration particularly difficult, but Kovalik is absolutely away. He's going to lead them away from up the hill, from Craner Curves, from Old Hairpin, and up now towards McLean's. As you see in the background there, looks like Schumacher having a go at Aladish. In fact, and I had to go at Hauer, sorry, in fact, and in fact, Zinski is taking advantage of that instead now. So Zinski has gone down the inside of Schumacher, but he's going to do the crisscross, and Schumacher has made that move stick. He's done back down the inside, and now Carlson is attacking Zinski. Here we are, Carlson attacking Zinski, and no, not quite. Carlson decides to back out of it. There is Carlson. There is Fish. He's not a good start to the race, really. But Shalonka has a decent start to the race, no doubt about that, in his nicely liveried Corvette. Had a difficult time last time out. But those who were involved in the crash, not sure if Becker was involved or Behrens, but definitely involved was Ryback, I'm pretty sure. And both of the Anderson boys, Hagman definitely involved. I saw his Mercedes SLS off to one side. Kovalik leads the first lap ahead of Aladish and Abraham and Hauer and Schumacher. And here comes Hagman into the race. Of course, he could classify this into the pit. Sorry, he could classify this as his pit stop for the day. So it might not be too bad a problem for him. But in 15th, sorry, he's going to be in 15th place now when he crosses the line through the pits. 14th is Anderson, T. Anderson, and Owen Anderson is the other driver in 13th. So That's not been good for those boys. Something happened, of course, on the start grid. Obviously somebody didn't get going. That's usually what happens to those sorts of pile-ups, or someone slid to one side and everyone collected them. That's not good news or a good start to the race, and it's going to be a long evening now as a result for these drivers. Back to the front of the field. There is Kovalik. He's got Aladish right behind him. And the top two have already checked out from third and fourth. Nice bit of understeer there through the second part of the S's for Kovalik. So there is third, and here is fourth. And Schumacher is keeping, well, he was keeping Hauer a little bit in sight, but everyone seems to be gapped out at the moment, as is GT Racing's want, of course. There is Schumacher, and there is Udinski, and he's still got Carlson trying to track him down. He's still got Fish trying to track him down. I'm surprised Fish is not doing a bit better here. Doesn't have any weight on the car at all, and he is usually regarded as one of the fastest drivers here. So Aladish gets the fastest lap of the race. There we go, is my pick for the race. Oh, and hopefully he'll do well. Oh, and Carlson went very deep there into Redgate, and he tapped the back of Wazinski. We've got a great view of that, and now Fisher has the overlap on the inside for crater curbs. Oh, this is terrifying stuff through here, and Fisher's gone for it. He's down the inside. He's taken Carlson just about, and Carlson ended up a little bit out of the curve, a little bit out of the grass, and lost momentum. But that means that Fish is up to 7th. Confirmation of that fact. Oh, he's gone wide through McLean's, though. He doesn't want to do that too often, especially with Carlson looking to hit back. Carlson had some beautiful runs, in fact, at Ruapuna, but mistakes always seem to cost him. And those mistakes are already bearing themselves out on the third lap of this race. Shooting under the bridge they go. Kovalik leads still from Aladish. Look how close it is, though. Abraham has gained slightly in third place, and Hauer is just keeping that margin to Schumacher. Well, Lazinski is just trying to fend off Carlson now, of course. Not Carlson, sorry. Because Carlson dropped that position. Lazinski's trying to fend off Matthias Fish. Oh, and Aladish going very deep into Goddard's. Different driving styles, as you can see, around Melbourne Hairpin and Goddard's. Late apexes for Aladish, earlier apexes for Kovalik. He seemed to be remarkably close in effectiveness. Oh, and Kovalik pushing very hard through the bumps at Redgate, and he's going to go for the lead. Is Fish, and that's right, Aladish, and he's gone for the lead. Kovalik tried to squeeze him, but Aladish is through. Aladish leads this race. Probably my fault. I predicted Aladish to win. Sorry, Sven, but Aladish is away, it seems, at the moment. So that car of Kovalik just seems a little bit nervous. Looks good in qualifying trim, but in race trim it just looks a little bit nervous, a little bit jumpy, and that's difficult to continue to lap consistently with. Aladish is getting on with it. His car looks much softer, much more pliant, it has to be said, and hitting those apex looks easier to drive. That's all. That's the thing about it. It looks easier to drive that quickly. As we saw again, Kovalik made a mistake at the Fogarty S's. Everybody getting out of shape trying to put the power up Melbourne Hill, and that's not helping at all. Any of them, in fact. Won't help you tyre wear, didn't help you lap times, didn't help anything at all. And now, look at that. Abraham was pressuring Kovalik, but now it's Hauer pressuring Abraham. And that's the difficulty here. Look at this section of track, how much it descends downhill. Absolutely almost flat out down here. Look how far you've come. See right in the distance. And how far you've come now, you start heading back up the hill once again. Culminating in copies, of course. Aladish has pulled away from Kovalik. It's 1 second now, the gap. Abraham has dropped back from Kovalik as a result of that small mistake. But Fish and Uzinski seem to be in the best battle at the moment. Here we are. Fish is tracking Uzinski very closely here. Uzinski, of course, carrying 65 kilos. His championship rival, Sebastian Hauer, is carrying 86 though. So there's no excuses, really, it has to be said. Fish is in fact 2 points ahead of Uzinski in the championship. He's not carrying any weight here today after being taken out by his own teammates and finishing 12th at Ruapuna Park. So finishing 4th in the first race. As Osinski went very defensive there, and Carlson's gone down the inside, almost unknowingly. I didn't even see it myself, but Carlson's gone down the inside of Fish, but Fish has got great traction off that corner, has the inside of course into Goddard as well. Ooh, you should all the track and more. That's a beautiful line actually there, it's back from Fish. Let's do that more often. But Abraham and Schumacher and Hauer also all very close together once again. Let's go back to the battle for 6th place. Fish has gone down the inside of Osinski. Will he get enough momentum off the corner? Will Osinski get enough speed to come across and cut off the overlap? No, not quite. Fish still has it. This is Carlson all over again for Matthias Fish. It's the same zone for him to overtake it, and he's done so. There we go. Fish is up to 6th, and it looks like he may be able to pull away as well from Osinski. It looked like he was gaining pretty easily on Osinski in those preceding laps. So let's see this happen. Osinski goes for the inside there, looking for any little hole that Fish can will give him. No hole this time around. Go back to the battle for 3rd place. Press the right button. Oh, here we are. Wow, battle for 3rd place. And Howard's going round the outside on the braking. Oh, through Matthias Abraham, but going to unsear, of course, on the exit. And now Abraham's done the cutback. Schumacher wants a piece of it also. Down into the Melbourne hairpin they come. Howard with the much heavier car has to give way on the inside to Abraham. Abraham on the exit, just giving it enough room. Oh, Schumacher makes a mistake, get all excited. Schumacher gets excited and makes a mistake, and he's going to lose ground to these boys as Howard goes back down the inside of Abraham. Just accelerates mid-corner to make sure he takes the corner, and he's taking the position. That's excellent driving there, Sebastian Hauer. But now, down the main straight they come into Redgate. Side by side. Abraham on the right. Hauer on the left, and Abraham has run wide, and Hauer is away. Look at that gap, that small excursion onto the grass has given Sebastian Hauer the 3rd place. And now here comes Carsten Schumacher. He wants a piece of the action also. He made that mistake which cost him any chance of taking advantage of those two slowing each other up. But he's back in the action once again. And Fish, look at Fish gain on this battle as well. As a result of all the battling, Fish is right behind them. So he sniffs a 3rd place, or even or maybe a 4th place in all this. Kutinski's not far behind also. So everybody who was behind the battle for 3rd place of Hauer, Abraham and Schumacher is loving this because they've all gained on each other. There goes Osinski through, and Carlson, and Shilonka also. So Shilonka having a great race here after a miserable afternoon at Ruapuna Park, it has to be said. Doing much better at this track. This track obviously suiting him much more. Maybe he just had more time to get himself in the groove, but either way, he's enjoying himself much more out on track. Back to the front of the field. Aladish still being trapped by Kovalik. Kovalik did manage to bring the gap down to under a second on the previous lap. What will it be this time around? Looks like around about the same kind of margin, and indeed it is, still 9/10 of a second. Back from Aladish. Race leader. Now his 2nd place, Kovalik. Audi versus Ferrari. that was a lap on board with Steb Aladish. Very, very consistent throughout the lap. We saw Kovalik, watching Kovalik from behind, he set the fastest lap of the race and gained a couple of tenths on there, Kovalik. It was all game on at the front. Third place is Sebastian Howard. He's nice and lonely now, he'll be enjoying that. Want to get on with his race, manage his car, manage his tyres, and not wear them out. In fourth place now, though, is Matthias Fish. Where is Schumacher? And where is... There's Carlson behind Uzinski still. There is Carlson. Carlson is sixth place. Abraham's now seventh, and Schumacher eighth. No, Shalonka is eighth. It's Schumacher's back to 10th. So something's happened there. Obviously, we haven't been able to see what has happened. Let's see if we can go back and catch that. Perhaps I'm not sure if we will be able to. Apologies, it doesn't look very good this, but let's see what happened. While we're on board, good Aladish for that lap. Schumacher and Abraham appear to have got into a bit of a kerfuffle. Oh, well, there we are. There we see it. Here is Abraham. He's off the track. That's it. There we go. This is the incident right here. So Abraham had run wide. Schumacher down the inside on the exit. Abraham trying to rejoin the position. Schumacher perhaps running out a bit wide understeering. And off the track went Schumacher. And off the track went Abraham. So Schumacher recovered, obviously. There he is in the background, recovering back to his position. But that is how that happened. Let's go back to the live action now. And what position is Abraham's now in 7th. And Shalonka is in 8th. So Shalonka, I think, has made a mistake somewhere. And Schumacher has now passed Behrens as well. So Schumacher's continued. Oh, in fact, he hasn't passed Behrens. I'm sure he was in 10th a minute ago. Behrens was definitely behind him. Maybe he wasn't. Maybe I'm just seeing things. But Schumacher is now up to 9th either way. He's gained one position. Aladish still leads. Gap was 7/10 at the line last time around. But it looks bigger, that gap now to me. I can't see Kovalik being as close. Now we're ahead of Aladish. We see that the unfortunate Martin Hagman almost a lap down after that opening lap. But look at that. Fastest lap from Sebastian Hauer, faster than the leaders, but even faster than both the leaders is Matthias Fish. Now he is obviously the man on the move. He's been lurking nowhere near the pace that we expected him to be in qualifying or practice, but come the race, he's absolutely come alive. Of course, he's not running any weight, so that's helping quite a bit. He's 8.3 seconds down on Aladish already though. But the cream is rising to the top here. We saw being a bit mixed up in qualifying. As we go past the blimp, be a bit mixed up in qualifying. But it's Aladish, Kovalik, Howard, Fish, Uzinski, the 5 usual pretenders who are already back at the front of the field, and we're 10 laps into this race, quarter of the way through. And I'll give you a quick rundown of what's happened. Aladish qualified in pole position, but was beaten off the line by Kovalik. And Aladish took lead of the race on lap 3. Has not ceded it since. Hauer had an average start of the race, went back from 3rd to 4th, and then got past and went back into that 3rd spot once again after a titanic battle with Abraham and Schumacher. Abraham and Schumacher were in difficulties after coming together at the top of Coppice just a couple of laps ago. They've dropped down the field and they're fighting their way back now once again. Carlson's had a solid run so far and is in 6th position. I think he's still in that 6th position. There he is. Uzinski's been under pressure pretty much the entire race so far with that extra 65 kilos, which he seems to be struggling with. So, but he's in 5th place at the moment. Carlson right behind him, and of course Abraham has now caught right back up to these guys again. And Schumacher has passed Shalonka for 8th spot. Shalonka's also been passed by Behrens, as you can see, but Shalonka having a much better run than last time around. Fish seems to be catching Sebastian Hauer quite quickly. 6.5 seconds, 8 seconds now, so it's 1.5 seconds now is the gap between Hauer and Fish, so we'll keep an eye on that gap. But the big battle on track at the moment is this battle for 5th spot between Rosinski there in the Ford GT. Carlson in the Ferrari 458. And, of course, Abraham in the Audi R8. Carlson for his stated quo at the moment. As he managed to get around the track. Carlson maybe a little bit. We saw this earlier actually. In fact, actually, we jumped back to them a couple of minutes ago. Well, a lap ago, in fact, actually, we saw that Carlson was quick in this section of the track. So maybe he's struggling for traction out of the chicane and the hairpin. And he's struggling for traction out of Goddard at the moment because he's going to be passed on the inside by Carlson. So Carlson nudged the back of Rosinski earlier in the race in this kind of position. Not going to happen this time around. Oh, and breaking news though, breaking news. Hauer has been Hauer has been passed by Matthias Fish. Let's have a look at what's happened here. It's happened sometime on the last lap. There we see it. And it looks like it has. There we go. It's happened out of Melbourne hairpin. And Hauer's been very slow on that lap. He's lost 2 seconds to the leaders, in fact. So a mistake by Sebastian Hauer somewhere. An uncharacteristic mistake. And Fish has gone straight through. Fish is still gaining the leaders, of course, as well. He was 8 seconds behind at the end of the previous lap. He's now 7.6 behind. So Fish is on the move. If the two leaders start battling at any point whatsoever, he will catch them in quick succession. But even if they don't fight, he may catch before the end of the race anyway. 29 laps to go here. Back to live action now. So Hauer's keeping pace with Fish after that mistake on the previous lap. That will please him at least. See the gaps this time around. Fish going wide there at Goddard. Won't help him at all. Still 7/10 of a second between Aladish and Kovalik at the front of the field. It's remarkably consistent. Both the drivers delivering high quality stuff here. And Fish has actually dropped a couple of tenths on that lap. Carlson is now in 5th spot. He has got past Rosinski. So Carlson has got past Rosinski finally. And Abraham now is one who wants to have a go at Rosinski and Carlson. And that is the opportunity. No, he's not quite going to get there. Rosinski had enough in hand there just to sweep over and cut off the run for Abraham. Abraham had to duck out of that run. Schumacher is right behind these guys now as a result of all their battling. So the gap was quite wide earlier on, but now Schumacher is crawling all over the back of Abraham's car. There is Schumacher. He wants to get through, and he's making his intentions pretty clear right now. Behrens is not out of this battle either. Either of them make a mistake. That could see Behrens get back into the battle. This was a part of the track where Schumacher and Abraham came together earlier in the race. This is lap 14. Looking back from Rosinski. 6 spots. And Abraham always... Oh, Abraham's hit the back of Rosinski as a result of Carlson slowing down. So what happened there was Carlson went deep into the Melbourne hairpin. Again, a mistake costing Andreas Carlson. It's and down back down the inside aggressively to try and make up for the mistake. He gives Rosinski a bit of a nudge, but Rosinski holds firm around the outside and takes the position back once again. But because Carlson was so slow in the middle of the corner, it also slowed down Rosinski. He wasn't sure what Carlson was going to do, and that meant Abraham hit the back of Rosinski also, almost caused a much bigger accident than it was, but everyone ended up driving pretty well through there, excuse me. Everyone ended up driving very well through there. But look at the gap to the leader from the top 5 now. It's 17 seconds after just 14 laps. So that's a bit of a difficulty for the drivers. They've lost lots and lots of ground through all their battling. Well over a second a lap. Now, considering Rosinski was challenging for the win in both races and taking the wheel, of course, in the second race at Ruapuna, that won't please him in the slightest. Schumacher's having to put a look out now. No. He was going to have a go into Fogarty S's. And definitely thought he was going to have a go into Melbourne Hairpin. Not this time around. The gap is still 7/10 between Aladish and Kovac. This could come down to whoever has the quickest pit stop of this race. But Fish is still roughly just under 8 seconds behind the two leaders. His pace seems to have just dropped off just a little bit. He was gaining earlier on, of course, but it seems to have remained status quo over the last few laps. Here is Fish and Howard. See Howard just jump into the shot in a second. Oh, in fact, well, we should do. A bit further back than I thought he was. There he is. Under 0.8 of a second behind Matthias Fish. Aladish knows he has to make the most of these kind of races if he wants to win this championship. Sebastian Hauer made a small mistake and has got lots of weight on board. He has to get maximum points. He will not want Kovac trying to overtake him. Kovac's taken a big hit in the championship with that did not start lost connection at Ruapuna, and also only a 7th place in the first race there. So he really is struggling to be in the championship hunt here. But Aladish really still is right slap back in the middle of it. He needs to make sure he takes maximum points here today. 70 points up for offer in this race. Ben Kovac looking a bit more menacing now in this lap. A bit closer in some of the braking zones. Front of that Ferrari needs to get a bit meaner. Gained a 1/10 of a second the previous lap. Lost a 1/10 of a second through that second sector, but looking more and more aggressive as the race goes on here. More and more confidence in that car. Oh, and there goes Aladish. He's made the mistake out of the Melbourne hairpin. I was talking earlier about how easy the car seemed to drive, but it seemed to get more and more difficult for him. Almost like the car stiffened up more and more as the race went on. And now Kovac takes the lead of the race, and that's a cost mistake for Aladish. Does he have the speed to get back to Kovac? Of course, that means Fish and Howard are both close to the leaders now as a result as well. Kovac now leads this race. Be very happy to see that mistake from Aladish. Was Kovac driving conservatively to hold? Was Aladish driving conservatively to hold Kovac back, or was he going all guns blazing? We'll soon find out, I guess. He doesn't stack up that he made a mistake while he was driving conservatively, but it does happen, I guess, on occasion. Perhaps he just saw Kovac get a bit closer, but a bit too eager to extend that gap once again, and made the mistake. There's good pressure from Kovac, but he has lost 3/10 already in this middle sector, in this whole lap, sorry, so far into the second sector. What's Aladish got at the end of this lap? What is the gap? Gap is down to 0.7, so he's gained half a second on Kovac in that lap alone. Because maybe Kovac's just resetting his sights once again. Because once you've been behind somebody for so long, you kind of set your rhythm off them. You use them as kind of a brake marker and all kinds of things. And now the track looks completely different now that you have been released into the wild by yourself without anybody in front of you. And we could just see Kovalik's needed one lap there just to settle in. Not made a mistake so far on this lap. Fish is pulling away from Sebastian Hauer, and he's pulling in the two leaders. That looked to me like Carson Schumacher is now a lap down. Indeed he is. Carson Schumacher is now a lap down. He may have been into the pits, of course. This is on lap 18, so we are getting right close to after lap 18, lap 19 we're on, sorry, should I say. So it is very, very close. Everybody's starting to make their pit stops, so look out for that. Carlson is in 6th. Abraham's got past him. 7th place was Uzinski. With 8th place is Behrens. 9th is Sri Lanka. Still enjoying a decent run compared to last race at least. Right back is 11th. He won't be particularly happy with that at the moment after a 7th and a 9th at Ruapuna. And some good promise also as well, but start of the race obviously didn't go very well for him at all. And Kovalik has pulled away 6/10 from Aladish on that lap, while Fish has gained a huge amount on that lap as well. I wonder if the two leaders have made a mistake at the same time. It's held up Aladish. I'm not quite sure, but Fish has gained a big chunk of time on the two leaders. Fish isn't making any mistakes at the moment, just lapping consistently around about the leaders' pace and waiting for them to make mistakes. Well, tyres are getting a bit worn, of course, as well. At lap 20 and lap 19 now, on to lap 20, and people will start to make pit stops. So let's see what Fish can do. Decent pit stop for Fish, and he could see himself in the lead of this race. After qualifying so poorly, of course. Always run wide there, though, but on the entry to the Fog of the S's, drivers getting more and more hairy through that section. And it has to be said, as the race goes on, it comes down to 2.1 now. It was at 2.9 at the line. So Aladish really seems to be struggling quite a lot here with his tyres. Is Kovalik doing the same? Kovalik is not pulling away from Aladish like you would think. Will they come into the pits this time around? They do go to the pits. They both dive into the pits. What's Fish going to do? Fish is going to carry on, of course. He's got decent pace, he won't mind. Howard's going to come into the pits also. But there is 5th place Abraham. What will he do? Fish leads this race, of course. Will Abraham come into the pits? He will. Abraham into the pits as well with his AA Motorsport teammate Abraham. Aladish, sorry to say. Whereas Uzinski and Behrens all carry on. Does Carlson carry on? Kovalik's into the pits here. Oh, and Kovalik is out of the race! What on earth has happened to Kovalik here? There's a bird's pass over. It's a crows of death for Sven Kovalik. Something happened there that wasn't correct. How is in the pits also? What's happened here? Aladish is back out on track. Ryback is now up to 7th as a result. There is Becker. Where is How? There is How coming to the pits. He must have repaired damage. I'm not quite sure why he would feel the need to do that. He was lapping particularly well. Maybe he just forgot to turn off the option. But poor Sven Kovalik. That's twice in 2 races where he has been scuppered by technical difficulties. A lost connection did not start at the 2nd race at Ruapuna, and now mysteriously disconnected while in the pits. It really is very unfortunate indeed from Sven Kovalik. Hopefully we'll get word about what happened there. But in the lead of the race still is Matthias Fish. He's not pitted yet. 2nd place is Andreas Carlson. 3rd place here is Uzinski. Will these two pit? Like Carlson is, Uzinski's not either, so they're going long. Behrens is right behind Uzinski. This is a great performance from Behrens. 5th spot is Sri Lanka. He's not pitted yet either. 6th is Aladish. So Aladish is the first of the drivers that have pitted. 7th is Ryback. I don't think he's been into the pits. I don't think either has Becker. Whereas Kovalik, no, that's not Kovalik. Sebastian Hauer. He came up Kovalik there for a second, but Sebastian Hauer has been into the pits. So there is Hauer. He lost lots and lots and lots of time in the pits there, though. Around about 30 seconds extra than what he needed to do. Fish is in the lead of this race. There he is. At the end of the lap, with the S's again, car looks wonderfully smooth, it has to be said. Not the searing pace of the two leaders, though he has set the fastest lap of the race, but he's definitely very, very consistent. Similar lines to Aladish through Melbourne Hairpin. In fact, that time around he was just a bit too deep, you would guess. Will he pit this time around? This is lap 22. Maybe he's just happy with his rhythm at the moment, doesn't want a new set of tyres. Doesn't look like, oh, it is a pit stop. Say, it doesn't look like a pit stop to me there, but it is a pit stop. And Fish is in. The race leader is in. Second spot, Andreas Carlson. Will he come into the pits this time round? Both these drivers, both Carlson and Uzinski, should beat out Sebastian Hauer. Not sure what happened to Abraham. Uzinski's not coming to the pits though. Carlson has. There is Fish still in the pits. So leader of this race now is Darek Uzinski for SRU. Winner last time out at Ruapuna. He's leading this race via the pit stop shuffle at the moment. There's Carlson in second. Here comes Aladish. She's going to cross the line around about now. There you are. You see Fish coming out of the pits also at the same time. So Aladish is in second. There he is. We'll try and keep hold of that gap to Fish. The gap was about 4.2 seconds before the stops. In fact, it was about 3 seconds in fact before the stops, because it was 4.2 to the leader, and the leader of course was Kovalik, but Aladish was about second behind Kovalik. And there is 1.1, but in fact it's 4.6, there you go, 1.1 at the line of course because of the pit stop, 4.6. So actually Fish has lost out in those pit stops there, around about a second and a half to Aladish. So Fish needs to produce some of that. Fish needs to produce some of that wonderful consistency once again. Try and get himself back in the hunt here. Hauer is in fourth spot. Everybody is so. Well, that's not Sebastian Hauer. Why is he giving me one of the Anderson boys? That's not Sebastian Hauer. That's for sure. There's Anderson. He's in fifth. Sebastian Hauer there is in fourth spot. Apologies for the plug in there. But everyone's very, very spread out now. It has to be said. Sixth spot is Carlson. Seventh spot is Shalonka. Everyone's just disappeared around the circuit, just scattered here and there. Nobody's close to anybody at the moment, apart from Abraham and Schumacher. These two have been warring all afternoon. They're the closest battle on track at the moment, so that's very disappointing indeed. The pit stops really have not gone well for many, many people. All making noob errors, it has to be said. Schoolboy errors in the pit lane. Of course, Kovalik disconnected, but the rest of them seem to just not decided to turn off the repair damage function. For those who don't know exactly how that works, in R Factor, if you have the slightest amount of body damage, the crew will try to repair that damage, and it will take around about 45 seconds on average. Depends on the mod, of course. On average, take 45 seconds, and you can turn that off, of course. But it's not helped these guys. They've not turned it off. Lazinski's quite close to Hauer. It's not 0.5 seconds, but it's probably around about 3 seconds once they got up to speed here. Let's see the splits as they go through the next sector. There is Sebastian Hauer. He's back to third place, despite that 47-second pit stop. Really, drivers need to be taking advantage of mistakes like that from people like Sebastian Hauer. He doesn't do them very often, and nobody's taking advantage. And as a result, Hauer has not lost out in the slightest. He was fourth before the pit stops. He's now third through the net game of Kovalik, but despite the fact he had a long pit stop, nobody has gained on him. That really is shoddy for the drivers, it has to be said. They have to take advantage of that sort of thing. And unfortunately, nobody seems to have done so, and Hauer hasn't lost out as a result. Drivers have been very liberal with the second part of the S's there also as well. I'm sure the stewards are going to look on that particularly favourably. Everyone seems to be doing it, so maybe the only penalties, and nobody ends up losing out as a result. But it looks like a bit of flickering there from Sebastian Hauer's brake pedals, helping him in the sliders. Fish, fastest lap of the race as you can see, so he's gained back once again on Aladish. 4.3 seconds is now the gap, was 4.6 a couple of laps ago. So they've still got race on for the win of this race. But Sebastian Hauer is in third with a gap of 5 seconds back to Uzinski. And I think that battle is kind of dead in the water because Hauer's demonstrated so much better pace throughout this event. Fifth spot is Oyvind Anderson. See, he is one of the drivers who has taken advantage of all the mess-ups in the pit lane. But Oyvind Anderson has done very well indeed take advantage. Not actually, in fact, it may not have actually been into the pits. That could be a possibility, of course, because he was way at the back as a result of earlier in the race. But of course, he may have been coming into the pits very early on and used that as his pit stop. But either way, he's up to 5th spot. Sri Lanka's into 6th. He says, "Thank you very much, boys. While you lot squabble around you and cost yourself 4 positions, I'll take all those 4 and I'll get to the 5th spot. Thank you very much." So Sri Lanka into 5th. Thank you. He's one who's taking advantage of all that. Anderson back to 6th now, as you can see. 7th is Carlson. 8th is Schumacher. Where is Abraham? He should be not too far behind. There is Abraham, just in behind, a couple of seconds away. Abraham will be looking to improve his position here after a 4th and a 3rd at Ruapuna. He's carrying 26 kilos, but that's not too much for a GT car to worry about. 3.1 seconds now is the gap between Aladish and Fish. So definitely, at least we have a race on our hands at the front of the field. That's excellent news indeed. Hopefully Fish can continue that charge up towards Aladish. And Aladish, of course, we've seen him being prone to the odd mistake here and there. So Fish will be hopeful that he makes just a couple of mistakes and he gathers right back up to him once again. Fish is the driver who's been the most consistent here today, apart from maybe Kovalik, of course, who was right behind Aladish for several laps and took the lead of the race before an unfortunate disconnection in the pit stops. Oh, and there is that's Behrens. Surely that's Behrens who's just spun there. Try and check who that is. In fact, it is Behrens who has now spun, and he's dropped his way back, all the way back to 13th spot, I believe. No, in fact, maybe 14th spot. There he is, 14th spot for Behrens. That's a costly mistake for him. Obviously, had some difficulties in the pit lane also to be that far back at the front of the field. Aladish still leads from Matthias Fish. What will the gap be at the front of the field? I think we've been joined by Sven Kovalik in the commentary booth. We'll get to him just a second, and we'll see what the gap is between the two leaders as they cross the line. Aladish leads, as he has done for much of this race. Second spot is Matthias Fish. After qualifying poorly, he continues to claw his way up the field. In fact, it's back to 4 seconds now, that gap, so he's made a mistake somewhere in the final sector of that lap. I believe we have got Sven Kovalik in the commentary box. Sven.
Yeah, a lucky hello.
Many commiserations. You're talking to us once again. We don't want to talk to you this way.
Yeah, I don't know where the problem is. I already had this in the warm-up while stopping on the red rectangle. My R-Factor crashes. I have no idea. I have nothing new on the system, nothing new on the installation. I have no idea.
I've never heard of that problem before at all. Just on wow.
I never had
maybe computers didn't like red.
Only today twice, and now I think it's an easy run for Steph. I don't know what Matt can do.
Well, he's been faster than, been clawing the way back. Remember, I usually make a couple of mistakes, and Fish was way back in the grid, of course. 7th spot, I think, he qualified. So the fact he's only 4 seconds behind now after fighting his way back to the field shows he's got plenty of pace. And the gap is back to 2.5, of course, as well. There you go. So Alish has made a mistake in this lap as well. You saw him make a mistake earlier on. But how did you feel your car was before that obviously unfortunate disconnect? Did you feel you were confident winning the race?
Maybe you have seen these dramatic maneuver by Steph in the after lap 1, after turn 1.
Of course, yeah.
I think it was the full fuel tank and the cold tires. It was too difficult for me. And my big problem is I'm too nervous at the start of the race.
Your car looked very nervous as well. Was it very stiffly sprung?
Sorry?
Your car looked very nervous as well. Was it very stiffly sprung?
The car was not so nervous. It's much of sliding here for me in Donington in turn 1 and on the upper hill there. And I was quite safe afterwards, and I was getting more relaxed from lap to lap.
Yeah, we saw you get more and more relaxed. Your car looked very nervous. I was commenting how your car was maybe more stiffly sprung, but of course it could just be you being nervous at the front of the field. I always get like that as well when it started the race. It takes a couple of laps to settle down, doesn't it?
Yeah.
But Aladish has got a 2.6 second gap now over Matthias Fish. What do you think Matt can do?
Yeah, so Steph was fighting all around with his car, and I think Matt is more relaxed. I told him earlier, and he said he is going just to drive today.
Why did he not qualify so well? He seems to have he's racing incredibly well, but qualifying was difficult for him.
Qualifying is always the same with the nervous. So it was a funny thing in the pre-qualification and already in the practice. The more fuel you had in the car, the tighter it was, and the faster you were in the corners. I don't know if it was just a feeling by me or if it was really something by the physics.
Often people come that they find it difficult on low fuel tanks because the car becomes more nervous as a result, doesn't it? Less balanced.
Yeah, absolutely.
You have to change the setup as well. So the gap is now 2.2 seconds between Aladish and Fish. A quick word about the pit stops there for everybody. I don't know if you were listening, but everyone seemed to have a very, very long pit stop. Sebastian Hauer had a 47-second pit stop and has lost absolutely nothing, no, in terms of positions, nothing to anybody. So, I mean, Sebastian doesn't make mistakes very often, so drivers needed to be taking advantage of that, surely.
Yeah, I think it was kind of a trick because of his 86 kilos, and I think he was refueling, and so he stands longer.
Oh, but well, 47 seconds is a long, long time to refuel.
I think we are just refueling after the tires are changed.
Oh, I see. So maybe that's the thing. But other drivers don't seem to have that difficulty.
Oh no, I don't know. I haven't seen anyone stopping this long.
You know, because Fish had a 20 seconds pit stop, as did Aladish, you know, and a couple of other drivers as well.
But I think with 80 liters from Sebastian at the beginning, plus 86 kilograms, he was around 1 minute 29 or so a lap.
I see.
I think he felt too slow, so he decided to stop.
Oh, I see. So that would explain it there. So apologies to Sebastian, but other drivers should not be fueling. You know, they shouldn't lose 20 seconds. Really. So that's you know, that's the sort of thing you have to take advantage of at these sorts of things. But nobody has done. So that's Sebastian's come out laughing. Really, he's in third spot. You know, Aladish is leading the race and is right in the championship hunt, as is Matthias Fish, of course. But he's losing very little ground to them as a result.
Yeah, it will become interesting with Sebastian. I think in 2 races he will have to throw a trailer with some kilograms in it. His car is not.
What's the maximum you can? What's the maximum weight you can have on the car? Surely there's a maximum that you can go over.
Yeah, we have decided to go for 255.
But, that's the R factor limit.
Yeah, that's the R factor limit, and we set it in the rules. And we would never have thought that we would somebody would need it. This maximum load.
Sebastian's going to at this point.
Yeah, I think so.
He's destroying everybody in the championship at the moment, driving beautifully with 86 kilos on board. So doing very well indeed. Of course, he almost took pole position with 86 kilos on board. So he can't be that slow with all that weight.
That's a miracle I told earlier. I have no idea what the heavy fuel is doing in the car, because in some laps I was faster when I had more fuel in the car. Maybe the key is just to stay relaxed.
We've seen a lot of drivers be very liberal, yourself included, on the second part of the S's there. I mean, what's the ruling over that?
What is the second part of the S's for you? The
chicane, the Fogarty S's. Last lap of the race from Fish, by the way, he's back to 1.1 seconds behind.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, the S's at the end of the lap before the Melbourne hairpin.
Yeah, the curbs are very high on the left side. Yeah. And
but when you're exiting, lots of people are jumping over the grass.
Oh, I have never seen this.
Yeah,
I don't know what I was driving there.
No, I mean, I wonder what the ruling was on that, and how you would feel as if you found that drivers were, you know, indeed cutting the track and disregarding the boundaries. What would be the penalty for those?
I don't know exactly the point you would give for this.
You don't like my questions, put you on the spot.
And I think I also have to buy some beer for the race direction.
give them all the 100-point penalties so that you're back in the championship.
Yeah.
Anyways, Sven, thank you for joining us.
Yeah,
we've got 10 laps to go in this race, 11 laps to go in this race. So it's going to get very exciting. In fact, actually, because Fish is gained right up on the back of Aladish. So looking forward to this. I bet on a victory for Matt and a sprint for Steph.
Okay,
so I bet on a win for Steph, and you to come second and Howard to come third. So Fish might just take your spot and come second with Howard third. So that would be interesting.
Yeah, I think so. Well, maybe we will see.
Well, okay. better look at the next race. Really, you need to better look than that.
I do my best. I do my best. Bye.
See you later. Sven Kovalik there, who had unfortunate difficulties in the pit lane. His R factor just deciding to give up the ghost whenever he pitted. Clearly, his R Factor does not like the red rectangle on the floor. And if he drove into it, R Factor crashed this time today. So obviously a very strange bug there for Sven Kovalik after a lost connection at the last race as well. So really, that's really harmed his racing and his championship here. So, but best of luck for the rounds coming up. In fact, I think we go to Brno next time around. That's for round 5. We do. We go to Brno on the 30th of June. So that's in 4 weeks' time. Lots of spread out in this championship, and that's 2 sprint races there. So we'll look forward to that also. We're looking forward at the moment. We're looking forward to this battle between Fish and Aladish. I'm not sure if it's just my English, but Fish and Aladish, I just want to sing it. Fish and Aladish, and I'm not going to do any more of that. Anyway, we can carry on with the rest of the action here. Fish is right behind Aladish, but we saw this before with Kovalik. He got to this stage behind Aladish and wasn't able to make any more move forward, apart from when Aladish made the mistake, of course. So I don't know if there's some kind of aerodynamic deficiency of these cars when they're close behind the driver, but find it very difficult at the moment, these guys, to try and pass each other. Gap is 0.7 of a second, and it always seems to be 0.7 of a second, or thereabouts, behind Aladish in this race. Seems to be his lucky number. Let's quickly hop back through the field for you. 3rd spot here is Sebastian Hauer, while 4th is Darek Udzinski. 5th is Shalonka, enjoying a wonderful run. He's made the correct pit stop, hasn't made any mistakes. Watch the drivers go off the track in front of him. Now he's in 5th spot, although Carlson and Schumacher are both gaining quite rapidly on Shalonka, so he'll have to get a move on if he wants to hold on to his 5th spot in the next 9 laps or so. There is Schumacher in 7th spot. 8th spot here is Matthias Abraham. Apologies if I'm getting Matthias Abraham's first name wrong. I'm sure I did last time around, in fact, actually. So apologies if I've done that again. But anyway, he's Matthias for today. Matthias Abraham is in 8th spot, 56 seconds behind the leader of the race. He had a poor pit stop also. 9th spot here is that's Becker, of course. Becker is in 9th spot, profiting from other people making mistakes. Oh, and the leader of the race, there we go, right on, watching it from Becker's point of view. And here is Fish attacking Aladish into Goddard's, trying to go down the inside, not quite working. Let's go on board with Becker and look forward. He's just been lapped by the 2 leaders, and those are the 2 leaders ahead, attacking each other. Fish trying to go down the inside of Aladish into Melbourne hairpin. Didn't quite work, and Aladish had to run off the corner. On board with Becker. Oh, he's got stage fright. I'm sorry, Becker. He has made a mistake coming out of Redgate, and we're on board for all of that. But back to the front of the field. This is Aladish, and there, behind us, if I just get the right camera, is Fish. And this is for the win of the Donington race. Race 6 of the championship, round 4. And Fish is right behind. 8 laps to go. Put your money on, boys. Ben's money was on Fish. I said Aladish at the start of the race, so I can't really change my mind. But look, Aladish is trying just to weave a little bit there, just to lose some of the draft. Shalonka and Carlson and Schumacher are all very close once again. I'll quickly jump back to that battle if we can here, if it calms down at the front of the field. But this is the important battle on track at the moment. Dev Aladish leading from Matthias Fish. Neither driver has a win this season so far. Sebastian Hauer won the first race at Oschersleben, endurance race just like this. Whereas at Karitaba, it was Kavetsky and Kovalik who won the races. At Ruapuna, it's Hauer and Udzinski. So these 2 drivers, they've had success before at Net Racing Europe, but they've not had success this season so far, at least not in a race-winning way. Both of them will be very hungry indeed, and both of them will want to take as much advantage as possible over Sebastian Hauer's weight. And as it grows into the next couple of races, it seems like it will because of the good results. And Aladish made a mistake there. He's made a mistake on the exit also as well. He's taken out one of the marker boards. Fish is going to go around the outside and take the lead of the race. He has done. Fish has taken the lead of the race, and there we see a mistake from Aladish once again. It was only a small mistake on the edge of the old hairpin, but he carried on the mistake. That was the problem. He carried on the mistake as he went into the next section of the corners, and he's back down the inside of Fish. How has that happened? Well, he's changing cameras on board. He's gone back down the inside, and Fish is challenging for the lead once again into focus. Yes, it's Aladish went too deep though, and he's taken the lead once again. Great driver from these two. Great respectful driving, keeping each other just enough space, no contact at all, and Aladish takes the lead of the race back once again. That was great racing from both of them. Let's watch that on the replay. In fact, while they're just apart, here we are. It went all the way back to Old Hairpin. We saw that already, but let's watch this move from Aladish to retake the lead of the race. Here comes Fish. He's leading the race once again. He doesn't have that marker in front of him like I was talking about earlier. The track changes when you're suddenly ahead and after being behind for so long. And he made the mistake. He understeered wide, and Aladish took full advantage, squeezing as much as he dared down into the Fogarty S's and taking the lead of the race back once again, fully through into the entry and exit of those S's and into Melbourne Hairpin, back live, and he's opened up a bit of a gap. Fish perhaps a bit spooked by the fact that he couldn't hold on to lead the race. This is the area when he made a mistake a lap ago. 35 laps down, 6 to go. Fish close as that, and Fish once again struggling. It seems that Coppice, whereas Aladish seems to struggle at Old Hairpin, so two different strengths for two different drivers there at the moment. Both in very well matched throughout the race. Fish has driven superbly. He qualified 7th and has just systematically picked off driver after driver, set the fastest lap of the race in the 27s. I think the only driver who's managed to hit the 27s. And now he's putting pressure on Aladish for all he's worth. Aladish cannot afford another mistake. 2 mistakes is plenty enough to make in one race. To be a race winner, you can't make any more than that. And Fish is trying to make sure that he doesn't. In fact Fish is trying to make sure that he does. In fact, I'm trying to say that Fish makes sure that he doesn't win the race. He can make his 3 mistakes in one race. But it's Audi versus McLaren, that beautiful looking Intersport liveried McLaren from Matthias Fish. Lots of lovely liveries in this series, it has to be said. Once again there, Aladish struggling at the Old Hairpin. Look how much ground Fish gains through the Old Hairpin now, as a result, all the way up the hill towards McLean's. Oh, and Aladish, a little bit slow in entry there, a bit ponderous, and Fish was able to poke his nose in. Had to back out of it though, it actually cost him in the end a little bit. And now here, through Coppice they come. Fish loses ground once again. We see once again it's carbon copy, lap after lap. Fish was right behind, but got out of shape through Coppice, and has lost that ground once again. Carlson has got past Shilonka. Shilonka, in fact, has dropped down behind Abraham, I think. Yes, he has. So Shilonka's great run in the top 5 has now come to an end, but 8th spot will still be an excellent result for him after struggling at Ruapuna. Troy will still be pleased with the 7th spot, but with 8th spot. But of course, when you've already run in the top 5, you're never satisfied. Once you run up there, you want to be up there once again. These are the gaps, and it looks like all fairly big gaps from everybody, should I say. I can't think of quite the right word right now, but Howard's in 3rd spot. We just spotted him. Here is Aladish and Fish. This is for the race win, and there's 4 laps to go. 16 kilometres of racing. Just 6 minutes. But Aladish to hang on, or Fish to take his first race win of the season. That time around it was Fish who struggled through the Old Hairpin. And Aladish got it just about right. Looking back from the Audi driver. Maybe it's that big bump on the curb that Fish takes that's costing him. Because Aladish isn't taking that big bump on the curb, and it looks like he's giving him less understeer and more traction as a result, more stability. Open up the gap once again. Fish is becoming smaller and smaller in the mirror of Aladish. And Fish has missed the apex there at Melbourne Hairpin also, it won't help him. surely Aladish can hold on from here. 3 laps to go now, and then end this lap as he crosses the line. Just 12 kilometres. Done this track hundreds of times. Just needs to do it smoothly. 3 more. 1.1 seconds is the gap. The win will be his. Lost 0.3 in that first sector, once again struggling in that first sector. And it's gone narrow at McLean's. Fish has gone for a more aggressive sweep out and sweep back in the line again, but didn't quite hit the apex. Let's see if Fish can gain through the coppice. Oh, he's made the mistake at coppice, there you go! There is the mistake from Matthias Fish. We talked about how he struggled at coppice, and that is the race winning, or race losing, I suppose you could say, move from Matthias Fish. Aladish should win this race now. All he has to do is trundle around for a couple of laps. There's an 8-second gap over Matthias Fish. Matthias has driven so well today, but couldn't quite make the most of his great run. He gave himself slightly too much to do with that poor qualifying. And here he comes over this big bump. Aladish caught it this time around, but Fish caught it even more. In fact, all 4 wheels I think were off the ground as a result of him hitting that curb. And there you go, it gets out of shape. That's not a difficulty, of course. You think, oh, out of shape, that's okay. But then he put the power a bit too much. Oh no, I'm going around, and there you go. That's the end result. Thankfully, nobody was there to collect him. We just added insult to injury. Or in fact, injury to injury, in fact, I would say. Back to the live action. And just 2 laps to go. Aladish is first. Second is Fish. Third place is Sebastian Hauer. Fourth place is Darek Kozinski. Fifth place is Andreas Carlson. Sixth is Carlson Schumacher. Seventh is Abraham. He's been trying to track down Schumacher for much of this race, or vice versa. 8th spot is Shalonka. 9th spot is Behrens. 10th, that's not Behrens, that's Becker, sorry. 10th spot is one of the Anderson boys. Not quite sure which Anderson boy that is. In fact, actually, I think it's Oyvind. No, it's not. It's Troy Anderson. With Hagman in 11th. That's actually a good recovery from Hagman, considering he was the car most beaten up by that start line crash. But he has got the other Anderson boy, Oyvind, right behind him. 13th spot is Behrens. I'm not quite sure what's happened to Behrens in this race, because he was challenging Abraham earlier in the race. But things have gone terribly wrong for him. He's way back in the field now. 14th spot, right back, has not finished this race, and neither has Sven Kovalik in 15th spot. So problems for Ryback and Kovalik. Back at the front of the field, Aladish is about to start. Final lap. Right on board here with the race winner elect. He's just got a few corners to go. Fogarty S's, Melbourne hairpin, and then Goddard's, and the race win will be his. Be a pole and a victory for Steve Aladish. A much needed salve to get himself back in the championship hunt. He had mixed pace at Ruapuna, a 5th spot in the first race and a 3rd in the second. That 5th spot really hurt him, it has to be said. 3rd spot was much better. But this time around, he's done fantastically well at Donington Park. He's ran with 26 kilos on board, so he's not been completely light. Not as bad as other drivers, of course. 26 kilos was still a little bit to be concerned about. But Steve Aladish drives from pole to the win. Not quite as simple as that, but Aladish is the winner of the race. There we have it. In a time of 61 minutes and 35 seconds. Averaging just over 100 kilometers an hour for the entire race. Great stuff from Aladish. He made a couple of small mistakes, but none big enough to cost him this win. He took the pole position, of course. It wasn't quite a lights the flag victory, couple of incidents in between. Fish briefly took the lead. Kovalik took the lead for a few laps also as well at the start of the race. But in the end, it was Aladish who came out on top. Second spot was Matthias Fish. A great drive from him. Looked in the context of driving from 7th spot to 2nd by the end. I'm sure he would have taken that before the race, after qualifying quite a few spots down. But after almost winning this race, I'm sure he'll be a little bit discontented by that. Third spot, Sebastian Hauer. He retains the championship lead and doesn't lose too much ground to his big rivals, Aladish and Fish. And he gains ground, of course, on Osinski, who finished in 4th spot. There we are. 4th spot for Osinski. That's a good result in the end for him after struggling. That backs up his 1st and 2nd spot from Ruapuna. 5th spot was Andreas Carlsen. A nice race for him. Didn't make any mistakes this time around and took that 5th spot home. 6th spot for Carsten Schumacher. I'm sure before this event he may have taken that 6th spot, but after being in 2nd fastest in pre-practice and qualifying 5th on the grid and other drivers having problems, I'm sure he would have liked to have a bit better. So maybe a slight missed opportunity for Carsten Schumacher. 7th spot for Matthias Abraham, and he'll be a little bit disappointed with that considering he was ahead of Osinski earlier in the race. 8th spot for Shalonka, a decent result for him. Be pleased with that improvement. 9th spot for Becker. 10th spot for Troy Anderson. 11th spot for Behrens. My apologies, all these black Audis. 11th spot for Behrens. 12th spot for Hagman. That's a good recovery from him, it really is, considering how badly his car was damaged very earlier in the race. Looks like they ran out of fuel there. 13th spot goes to Øyvind Andersen, with 14th spot to Ryback, who didn't finish the race, and neither did Sven Kovalik, retiring on lap 20 after a pit bug there. So that is the end of the show for today. Make sure you tune in 4 weeks' time, as I talked about, for get my words out, for the 5th round of the championship, which will be races 7 and 8, back to being sprint races once again, 2 30-minute races at Brno, the excellent GT track there. All the corners seem the same to me at Brno. I can't say it's one of my favourites, but lots of other people seem to like it anyway, so we'll look out for some excellent racing there. It does lend itself to good racing, with it being a wide track also, so looking forward to that. Make sure you join us in 4 weeks' time. Until then, stay safe.